Today. My name's Eric. As always, I want to thank you for coming by and checking out my video today. On this episode of Smo'King, I'm going to show you how to make minestrone soup. Now, we're in winter time here in Wisconsin. It's very cold and nothing is better than a nice bowl of soup. So we got some basic ingredients. Really the hardest part is just slicing everything up. We got an onion, some celery, some carrots. Now I know minestrone soup is typically just vegetables usually, but I'm going to put in a pound of ground beef to make it a little more hearty, so it's a little bit more filling on these cold winter nights. I got a few cans of kidney beans, some crushed tomatoes, some beef broth. I got around 4 slices of bacon, and a couple other ingredients. It's going to be super easy. So stick around. I'm going to show you how to do this step by step. Let's get cooking. Alright, the first thing I'm doing here, and this is totally optional, if you want it more authentic, leave the ground beef out, but I think it just adds a little bit of substance and gives it a little bit more of a hearty taste. It's more filling. So I just sauteed a pound of ground beef. I'm going to remove it, drain it, and we'll be back in a second to show you the next step. So I cleaned out the pot. I'm going to cook around 3 to 4, I think it's 4 slices of bacon that I chopped up. Now you can also use pancetta, but the store didn't have it. So I am using bacon. And we're not going to cook this completely. We're just going to kind of get it mildly cooked, get a little bit of that fat in there to kind of cook the rest of the vegetables. We're just going to give this a few minutes. Be back in a second. Alright, it's been around 3 minutes. Got a little bit of bacon fat in there. Now we're going to throw in 1 chopped onion, 1 cup of celery, and 1 cup of carrots. And now we're just going to kind of stir this up, soften it up just a little bit. We don't need to cook this. This is going to be, I'm actually going to finish this off in the slow cooker, but you can finish off this soup in right on the stove top here in a big pan. I'm just using this to saute everything. So just like that. We'll give it maybe 5-6 minutes till the onions start to get a little translucent. So we'll be back in a minute. It's been around 5-6 minutes. This is looking good. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the heat and I will meet you guys over at the slow cooker. We'll transfer this over and get the rest of the ingredients in, and then that's pretty much it. Very easy. So meet you guys over at the slow cooker in just a second. Okay, so I've already put the drained ground beef on the bottom of my slow cooker. I set it on high because I want to get it done in around 4 to 5 hours. If you got all day, put it on low. Now I'm going to put the vegetables, the bacon, everything else on top here. Okay, now we're going to add 1 can, 28 ounce of crushed tomatoes with a little bit of tomato puree. We're going to put that in there. That's going to be the base of our soup. I'll leave all the ingredient measurements down in the video description. But you know what? This is a kind of soup that you can experiment in, just like I added the ground beef. Feel free to alter it based on your taste preferences. There really isn't a right or wrong way to do it. Okay. Now I'm going to be adding, I just thought I'd show you the cans. We got some dark red kidney beans, some white kidney beans, or cannellini beans. We're going to add 1 can each of those. So there's a cannellini, the kidney beans. There we go. And then I have one of these big things of beef stock. This is 48 ounces. I'm not going to pour it all in there, but I definitely want enough liquid. I'm going to save a little bit because we might have to add some later on. Just kind of enough to cover everything. Let's give this a good stir. All right, here we go. It's already starting to look good. Look at this. We're just going to let this simmer for several hours. It's going to fill the house with a delicious aroma. Oh man. We're going to get a little more liquid out of those vegetables as they start to simmer down. I'll put a little bit more in. Alright, okay, I got a little bit of the little fresh herbs here, Italian herbs, just to let you know. This has got parsley, basil, oregano in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of that in for some flavor. A good pinch here. Sprinkle on top. Alright, I'm going to put the lid on it. We're going to let it go for a couple hours. We'll check on it, but we're going to keep that lid on it, kind of let everything come up to a simmer. We'll be back shortly. Alright, it's been 3 hours. It's up to a nice simmer right now. Let's give this a good stir. You know, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste it. I didn't put any salt and pepper in there because, you know, the bacon had salt, and you want to be careful. You don't want to over season it. But this is where we're going to give it a taste here. Just a broth. And see how that tastes. And season accordingly here. Let's see. Okay. It's not very salty at all. So I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. Not too much. Just like so. We're going to do a little ground black pepper. Like so. Stir this up. Okay, everything's looking great. Let's give it another taste. Oh yeah, it tastes fine now. Okay. So, I'm going to add 1 can of drained green beans. Now this is optional, but like I told you before, this is minestrone soup. So, put whatever you want in there. I didn't put this in initially because, you know, these are already fully cooked. They just need to be heated up, and I didn't want them to completely turn to mush. And now we're going to add that baby spinach. That's going to cook down. That's going to add some greens to it, and it looks like a lot right now, but you'll see when we come back to it. It's actually not that much at all. Whoops. It's like, wait a minute. So just kind of push it under. I'm going to stir that in. And this will cook down. This will add a great flavor and texture to the soup. Oh, here comes my dog. She smells what's going on here. Okay, just like so. Alright, it's only been 3 hours on high. We'll put it on. We'll give it a little bit more time. Be back in a moment. Alright, while we wait for that spinach to soften up, time for a drink review. This is a brewery I haven't tried yet. They're out of Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Hence the name Point Brewery. And this is Amber Lager. This is 4.9% alcohol. So that's what I'm having. And this is my son Kyle. Say hi.
Hello.
He's having... I hope he put it in the freezer. I hope he can pour okay. This is Mountain Dew Code Red. I guess it says dew with a rush of cherry flavor. Boy, Mountain Dew's coming out with quite a few different variations. But they're still basically the same Mountain Dew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of caffeine.
One thing about Mountain Dew is I never really tried the main one on camera because I figure most people know what the original Mountain Dew tastes like, but they have all these weird other flavors, and that's why I try so many of these.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try them.
I think it might have turned a little bit to ice.
Yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of ice, so don't try to go crazy. Okay, I like the color of this. It's dark. Here, there's little chunks of like slushy coming out. Don't go crazy. Okay, that's good enough, huh?
Okay.
Okay, I don't smell any hops.
Well,
Little sweetness, little malty. Okay, that's good. That's good enough for the review.
This reminds me of like the, almost kind of like how an Airhead tastes. It's like that.
Oh, okay. As always, guys,
Strong
I appreciate
cherry.
you watching the review. Here, cheers. All right, let's give it a sip and look at the camera and tell them what we think. Oh, that's smooth. Definitely malty, not very hoppy. And it's got a little sweetness to it. I'm gonna have to see if this is... No, it's smooth. But if I could tell it's sweet from the first couple sips, I'm worried it might be a little on the sweet side for me, but it tastes good. All right, I'll have to give you my second thoughts. What do you think?
This tastes almost like a cherry Coke without the Coke. Like it's really strong cherry, and
Well, they said, what do they call it?
This one's
Cold
pretty
red
good.
cherry with a rush of cherry flavor. No, this is okay. I mean, it is a little on the sweet side, very malty, not very hoppy, but it's pretty smooth. All right, so would you try that again, or would you have that over a regular Mountain Dew?
This is good. I would, depends what mood I'm in, but this is definitely very good.
Okay, well there you go.
No, it tastes like an icy now that there's ice in it.
He wanted to make sure it was cold. He put it in the freezer. Okay,
Forgot it was in
cheers.
there.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna give this another maybe half hour to 45 minutes just to soften up that spinach, and then we're gonna be making some Ditalini. Is that how you pronounce it, Monica?
Ditalini.
Ditalini. These little tiny pasta shells. Now, if you're gonna eat the whole thing in one sitting, you can pour some of it right in there and just let it kind of cook in there. I'm gonna cook it separately on the oven because I'm just gonna add some to our bowl because I think when we try to reheat it tomorrow or maybe the next day, because I know we're gonna have leftovers, if you just cook the pasta in there, it's gonna get a little soggy. It's gonna add some starch to the soup. But you know, do what you want to do. But these are the noodles that they typically put in the minestrone soup. So that's what we're gonna do. All right. Any last words?
Don't die.
All right, guys. We'll be back in a minute. All right. So we're approaching the 4-hour mark. And one thing I forgot to put in was some garlic. But look at that. Spinach is getting nice and soft and tender. So I'm gonna put in a couple spoonfuls of some minced garlic. Okay, so I got a couple spoonfuls in this big a soup. It's gonna be fine. Okay, give it a good stir. And the other thing I noticed now is that there's not a whole lot of liquid. So luckily, like I told you earlier, I saved a little bit of that beef stock or beef broth. So that was a 48 ounce. I'm just going to pour the rest of this in because I have room, and I think it's just going to add a little bit of flavor, make it a little bit more soupy rather than so thick like a stew. There we go. And we're pretty much in the home stretch. Let me get those there we go. Let me get those noodles on the stove, get them cooked. Yeah, look at this. I mean, come on. A good hearty soup to keep you warm on a cold winter night. All right. Looks awesome. All right. We'll give it another 20 minutes, half hour, and dinner will be served. See you then. All right, here we are. Let's take a good look. Minestrone soup. And look, I do like that ground beef in there. Just kind of give it a little bit of a extra that you need on a cold winter night in Wisconsin. All right, there we are. Let me get some of that pasta in the bowl. We'll scoop it out. Give it a sample. Be back in a minute. Okay, so I put some of the pasta noodles in the bowl here. Like I said, I like to cook them separate so they don't get too soggy with the leftovers. And now I'm going to scoop some of this soup on top. Boy, it's a very chunky kind of vegetable type soup here, but we do have a little bit of ground beef in there, so we want to do a good combination of the soup and the vegetables, just like so. I'm going to take a spoon, kind of stir it around so that pasta, those noodles were kind of room temperature, we want it all to kind of soak up. Now I like to top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Whoops. I got the grated stuff here, but feel free to use the regular stuff. And then I'm going to put a little bit of those Italian herbs right on top. Little garnish. There we go. Look at that. Minestrone soup. We'll give this a sample in just a second. Alright, welcome back. I'm here with my daughter Ava Grace, who usually doesn't do videos with me just by herself, but today we are.
Yeah, it's not as usual. We're doing me and you this time.
Yeah, and she usually, I let this cool for a while because she doesn't like things really hot, and also she's not usually good with chunky stuff, but I think this might be good. You got the feeding tube and all, but I think this might be good for you. Okay. And then I put some Parmesan cheese on mine, as you guys already saw. It's been cooling here for a few minutes.
Mine looks
Okay.
really good.
Are you ready? Let's take a spoonful.
Don't worry, I got a soup spoon, and so does Dad.
Yep, so does Dad. Okay. Let's get a good spoonful. Oops. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Let's give it a taste. Mmm.
Gross.
What do you think? Oh, you're drinking the broth. How's that taste?
Oh, that tastes really good. I like how...
Look at the camera and tell them what you think.
I like how the soup can be like sweet. It's like soup, but although it has lots of little pieces in it, usual.
Yeah, it's a
And
vegetable
it
soup.
has the pasta to it. But the most thing that's more and more in soup, the ingredient is sauce, because that's why like all the pasta and stuff.
Yeah, that's the
is at
broth.
bottom.
Do you like it? You tried just some of that right there. You like that, huh? Just the broth?
I like that too. The things.
Can you taste the tomatoes I put in there?
Ooh, which ones are tomatoes?
Well, they're in there, in the broth.
I bet these long orange things are carrots.
Carrots, and there's some ground beef, celery, and onions. Let's try one more bite.
I bet you gave Dixie some of those carrots.
I did give Dixie a couple carrots when I was cutting them up. She's right. What do you think? Delicious soup to do on a cold winter day. Leftovers are great. Just cook the pasta separately. Absolutely delicious.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Yep.
All right, everybody, let's give it one last taste, okay?
All right.
Man, I love this soup. Great thing to cook on a cold winter day. What do you think?
They're really yummy.
Really yummy. All right, guys, as always, I appreciate you stopping by and watching my video. If you like it, please hit the like button. Hit the little logo on the bottom screen there. That's to subscribe to my channel, which I would greatly appreciate. And a link above and below is to my website, ericsmokingbbq.com. You're going to point to it too? Where I have all my video recipes. Go check it out, please. And thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.
Enjoy the soup you make from Dad's Smo'King.
Yeah, there you go.
Enjoy. So yummy now.
All right.